really proud of the guys, their mentality coming in from the jump. Setting a tone was a big focus of ours coming in about how we want to work. Mentioned that yesterday. Been talking about that all summer. So really pleased with what the guys did in the morning session. Now we just got to build on it. That's our mentality of getting better. So focus on that.
What was the top of your priority list, just given all the change that's happened and given that this is day one? What did you tackle first, I guess?
Yeah, first thing we tackled was our transition defense. Really talked about how that's the core of what we want to do. We want to establish ourselves as being a really, really good defensive team. And through that, communication being one of the overarching things. So defensively, offensively, how communication is big for us. We wanted to lay our foundation with defense, transition, went to pick and roll defense, our man-to-man defense, and then we jumped into our offense.
First day with Ja out there going 5-on-5, how did he look?
He looked great. Picked up, just jumped into the mix, and he's such a smart kid. He grasped everything defensively and offensively. Body's moving fine, looking like the Ja of old, and he's going to be a Ja of new, which is great to see.
Is it the plan to go full blow with him the whole way, coming off the surgery that he had this summer?
Yeah, as of now, we're being smart. We're managing his loads and being attentive to how he's going to, handle each session and how he's going to respond. And, us in the performance team, his coaches are figuring out his daily plan. But right now, our hope is that he's kind of full go.
How did it feel for you running a practice like in this capacity?
It's awesome. It's definitely a blessing. It's a privilege. I think I've got a great group of players to work with, great coaching staff. So that makes my job easy. When you come in, you got people that are going to come to work hard every single day. So this was a great first practice put in the books.
How much are you counting on veterans like Jay Crowder and JV to, take up some of that leadership responsibility?
Yeah, I think the vets are super important to us. They do it in different ways too. Some guys are more vocal than others. Tice is more, players come to him, he seeks them out. And, Jay may be a little bit more, vocal, but I'm definitely going to lean on them a lot because of their experiences. Having done it at a high level, that's important for us, and it's a good way to set an example for our young guys how they're naturally going to grow their leadership skills too.
On paper, fans have been tantalized by what Ja and Jaren can do together. What is that starting to look like here in the real world?
I think their chemistry is brewing real smoothly. Obviously, we've seen what they've been doing off the court. I think they've got a relationship off the court. We talk about that. In order to have something good on the court, we've got to be good off the court. We had them in a lot of drills, but we also mixed them up so that they're interacting and working with some of their other teammates. But the drills that they were in today in the 5-on-5, that was a seamless kind of partnership they're building.
What about Kyle Anderson, and how is his prognosis going forward?
Yeah, Kyle looked great. He was full go in everything we did today. Looked very confident post-surgery, and the high IQ really stood out. He set a tone in a lot of our drills defensively, and from where he's come from in San Antonio, that background is very consistent with what we're kind of building a lot here with those fundamentals. So he looked great.
He was full contact today?
Yep, full contact.
He said yesterday he didn't think he would be.
Yeah, no, he came in and he was ready to go. So he, thought about it more and, was eager to get out here and really start practicing with his teammates and integrating himself. But he was full go and looked great.
How about D'Anthony?
D'Anthony's still on his timeline, doing a lot of individual work right now. So I think he's got a 4 to 8 week plan, and we're just kind of managing day by day. But he makes it a little bit in a few drills, and as he progresses day by day, we'll know how to get him more acclimated with the team.
What have you seen from
Ty's looked great. He sets a tone for us just with how he works. The unselfishness style that he plays with, both defensively and offensively. He's kind of like a quarterback out there for us, another, floor general, and we have that same thing in Ja. So to have Tyus kind of have that vet presence out there and a lot of our offensive stuff, it really stood out today.
Did you give a chance to run Jones and Ja at the same time?
Not today, but it's definitely something that we're talking about. It's definitely lineups that we want to, get to eventually. Day one, we kind of stuck more traditional, but over time, it's definitely something to get more playmakers on the floor that we'll definitely drill down.
What did you see from Marco, and I guess what's the overall expectation for him, especially coming from overseas?
Yeah, of course. So Marco's definitely adapting really well. He's got a high basketball IQ. He's a great competitor. The pace of play is a little bit different than what he's been exposed to, but he's going full bore. Like, he's making a purposeful effort to play at a fast pace, confidence to let it fly. It's going to be a seamless transition for him with his style of play and his game individually. And then defensively, he's competing. Like, he's getting in there, playing physical, playing aggressive, sticking his nose in there. So I'm happy to see his progress there.
How would you describe his game?
He's just a basketball player. He does a lot of different things. He's obviously known to be a really good shooter. But he's a guy that can play pick and rolls. He can play off the ball. He can play on the ball. And he's a great team defender. So he's got a lot of good traits going for him on both ends of the floor, and that's something that we're going to need. And I've obviously seen here, in the first practice.
The night practices, different points of emphasis on those after you've already put 2 or 3 hours in?
Yeah, we're just going to build on a lot of what we laid today. Maybe introduce 1 or 2 things offensively, since we laid a lot of our defensive foundation today. Come back, kind of clean up, review a lot of the stuff that we did today, and kind of make it more of a mental focus. We still want to get in purposeful, and efficient work, but then we want to hand them over to our performance team to really take care of their bodies and really strike that right balance of work on the floor, and then really being mindful of how they recover so that they're ready to go for day 2.
Coach, what can these blue blocks on the practice court tell us about what you'd like to do with this team?
Yeah, so, with our motion, we're going to be a 5-out team. Obviously, we'll talk about our running habits, which I've mentioned about rim running and making the paint still a priority for us. But ultimately, when we get to our motion, where we're going to operate out of our different calls, those 5 spots, the 2 corners, 2 wings, and trail spots are where our guys are going to fill. And it just gives them a good guide of where our spacing needs to be, because with the randomness that our offense is going to create, we want to make sure we're filling those boxes, because that's ultimately where we're going to hopefully get a lot of our threes from and create those appropriate driving angles with the appropriate spacing behind those 5 boxes.